Well, this is it then. Just 90 minutes separate the Saddlers from our first ever appearance at Wembley Stadium. We've been agonisingly close before, and even when we did reach the playoff final in the spring of 2001, Wembley was getting quite an expensive facelift. So is it our turn? Is it our time? Will 2015 be the year the Saddlers march on to the home of English football under the famous Wembley Arch? Well, the next 90 minutes will reveal all, but in the meantime, let's take a look back at our story so far in the Johnston's Paint Trophy. After receiving an opening round bye, our first hurdle was to overcome a Rochdale side who had put 4 past Richard O'Donnell in the league just 3 weeks prior to the game. Dale were the first to threaten. Henderson's free kick crashing off the bar thanks to the faintest of touches from Richard O'Donnell. The Saddlers began to get a foothold in the game, and when Ashley Grimes split the Rochdale defence, Matthew Mansay was on hand to score his first competitive goal in Walsall colours. Skipper Adam Chambers isn't renowned for his goal scoring exploits, and it wasn't hard to see why early in the second period. The hosts went in search for an equaliser, Matt Doan picking out Peter Vincenti, who found a yard of space inside a crowded penalty area. At the other end, Dean Smith's men looked to kill the game with a second, Billy Clifford dragging his effort wide. Despite a late rally from the hosts, O'Donnell was in fine form to keep the Saddlers in front and see us into the third round.
I remember leading up to the game, obviously they'd beat us quite convincingly a few games earlier, so obviously it was in our heads to put things right, and we did that. You know, we had to go out and be solid. I remember it was a difficult game and it was a very tight game. I think Manny scored the winner. Like I said, there wasn't a lot in it, but we knew we had to be solid that game because of what had happened previous. So after banishing the demons of Scotland, it was back to home comforts for round 3 as the Saddlers welcomed the Sheffield United side here at the Banksy Stadium in front of the Sky cameras. After a tight first half, the Saddlers broke the deadlock through a rare Romain Sawyers header. Replays show it may have had a helping hand on its way in. Matthew Mansay replaced the injured Tom Bradshaw at the break, and after a fantastic solo run which had the Blades' defence slipping and sliding, the Frenchman couldn't find a way past Ian Turner. Nigel Clough's men were restricted to efforts from distance, Lewis Reed forcing a fine save from Richard O'Donnell. Sawyers found Mansay, who had the chance to put the tie to bed. His lobbed effort just over the bar. There was time for one final attack from the visitors. Downing's clearance fell to Reed, who had the time to pick out a cross. Jose Baxter with the wayward header. Walsall into the semis.
I remember Michael Caine and Romain Sawyers and Adam Chambers on the night, the midfield 3, being outstanding their decisions without the ball. And when we got the ball, we were very incisive with it. We created opportunities, you know, which is unusual for us, not to have a lot of possession, but to create the chances we did. You know, we didn't over elaborate the build-up play, but we felt that was the best way to play the game. And on the night, it worked out well. And it seemed like the Saddlers' fortunes had finally started to turn. Our injury-plagued squad had been nursed back to health, and we started to find some form. Just 1 defeat in 8, heading into a semi-final showdown with Tranmere Rovers. It was the League 2 side who dealt the first blow at Prenton Park, Max Power guiding the ball perfectly into the bottom corner. And the hosts made it 2 shortly after, Coyote J rising highest to power home a second. Ben Perkins picked out Anthony Ford on the hour mark, the Irishman doing the rest. Game on, and 10 minutes from time we were finally level thanks to a Michael Caine pile driver. A rip-roaring 90 minutes couldn't separate the two teams, so it was on to penalties. And when former Saddler Mark Laird's effort was saved by O'Donnell, it was down to Paul Downing to see the Saddlers through. Just.
It happened all very quickly. I was quite confident. I said to the manager I'd take one of the 5, but that wasn't to be. So I remember the assistant referee at the time saying, you know, who's number 6, and I said I'd take it. then kind of got lost in what the score was really, and then all of a sudden they missed theirs, and I knew now then it would be you know, me to score the winner. So pretty confident, and luckily managed to put it in the corner.
I was disappointed with the first few that went the wrong way, and then I think it was the fourth one at the bar, so it started turning a bit, and then the last one, luckily I managed to go the right way and save it.
Many fans left Merseyside that night convinced their name was on the trophy. Any talk of Wembley though was a long way off. A two-legged Northern Area final against a high-flying Preston side reset the focus. Over 900 fans made the trip up to Lancashire for the first leg, and Dean Smith's men didn't disappoint. Preston looked dangerous early on, Jermaine Beckford bringing the best out of Richard O'Donnell. At the other end, Andy Taylor had the keeper beaten, but not the post. After the break, Walsall started to dominate, and when Thorsten Struckman scuffed his clearance, Romain Sawyers latched onto the loose ball before being pulled down by Neil Kilkenny. Taylor stood over the resulting free kick, but so too did Anthony Ford. With the clock counting down, James Baxendale opted for the kick and rush tactic. Scott Wiseman got there first, and gift wrapped Walsall second for Tom Bradshaw. A 2-goal lead to take back to the Bankses.
Looking back, I scored a similar goal against MK Dons where the right backs again put me through and goal. So it's just one of them things where on Colchester I was doing the same. You're anticipating the short ball. A lot of the time it doesn't come off. A lot of the time the ball just goes to the keeper and they clear it. But for the few times that it does come off, you've just got to make sure that you put it in the back of the net, and luckily I did.
And here we are, 90 minutes away and daring to dream. Join us in making this place a fortress tonight. Together we can overcome. Together we can be the 12th man. Together we can make history. Let us look back on this night and say proudly, I was there. Got it down, and Bradshaw might be in here. He stole the march of the goalkeeper, and Bradshaw turns it home. Mansay, up to Jordan Cook. And the Saddlers could make it 2 here. It's Bradshaw, it is 2. Chambers, Sawyers is free on the edge and finds Sawyers. Butler, long ball looking for Cook. His first touch is good. His second is better. Whips one into the front post. It's Melvin! 1-0 the Saddlers. Kieran Morris, last few minutes of the game, Morris! And Bradshaw scored again, and Bradshaw scores again. Ford looking for Bradshaw! What next for the Saddlers?